Gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of Brigadier General David W. Gardner and Command Sergeant Major David P. Hansen, Commanding General and Post Command Sergeant Major of JRTC in Fort Polk, welcome to the Warrior Information Exchange for 3 May 2023. And with that, sir, I'll hand it over to you for any opening remarks.
Thanks. Can everybody hear me okay? Or is this thing on? All right, no, it's good to see everybody. I think we hopefully will increasingly have some good information to put out. Couple things. One, Secretary of the Army visited last week. Some of you may have seen the articles. Of course, the articles weren't written by me and they weren't written by the Secretary of the Army, so those were written by what the journalist thought was noteworthy in there. But by and large, I think a very good visit, because quite frankly, she didn't have any preconceived negative notions, honestly, of Fort Polk. She was really familiar with a lot of the challenges that we spoke to her about. I'm not sure that there's a single challenge that we do deal with, whether that's the things we've been working with Corvias on in the housing areas. So I mean, she understands roads, sidewalks, playgrounds. I mean, all that stuff we're wrestling with right now. We had good conversations about healthcare, EFMP. Good conversations about the barracks, about motor pools, coughs. Quality of life is not just where you live, but where you work. So good conversation. The reason I think, it's a good visit is because I'll bet you, I think she's testifying this week again. I think what you'll start to see is that she'll use the examples of the visit, perhaps not with us by name, but it helped her kind of go back up and have discussion with not just within DOD and guidance kind of to the Army staff and the Secretariat, but as she's trying to get some of our members to pass legislation that's in our favor. So I think, again, like I say, good visit. If there's something specific that you're curious about, just ask me after this, as I stick around and wander over to the other room, and I'm happy to answer whether something specific came up or not. Really enjoyed her 2 sessions with our spouses. Really enjoyed her sessions with our Garrison team and some of the folks that we have at the post headquarters. So that team really, I'll tell you, in 9 months, 10 months, probably the best performance, I think, from our Garrison team and our installation team from the FORSCOM side, in terms of really being able to help somebody understand what's going on. Good visit yesterday, also up at the state capitol. Started with discussions with Governor Edwards. We spoke to, really, I've spoken twice now, last week and this week, to the superintendent of education. So he's taken on some things that we're bringing up to him, not just about teachers, which we also talked to Department of Economic Development on, but the ease with which our kids are transferring credits, transferring grades, coming into the school system here in Louisiana. Louisiana did qualify for the Purple Star program within the past years. That's very helpful. The state's been very generous in terms of supporting some of our academic initiatives, but they understand the challenges that military kids have in transitioning, and where they don't, quite frankly, they asked us to get together with Barksdale, which we offered to do, and pull together the issues with proposed solutions that they can adopt. We also had good conversations that came up last week again with licensure, so more on the spouse employment side, and that's how we transitioned it over to Department of Economic Development. So we'll be working very closely, particularly during the summer turnover here, as more people come in, to make sure that we're aware of the bureaucracy is really what it comes down to, of transferring licenses. The intent is there. The legislators and the governor think they've solved the problem, so to speak, because they've passed the legislation to recognize, but what we were able to help them understand is that It's not as simple as actually, filing all the paperwork, providing all the background materials and all those things. And some of our spouses, depending on how long they think they're going to be here, just opt out because it's too painful. So we're going to be able to work on that in the future going forward. So again, good conversations. There were other folks we spoke with up there, Veterans Affairs, good conversations with them. We spoke with their tourism department. So good conversations across the board. And again, happy to answer any specific questions one-on-one after this if you're curious if some issue that you're hearing from your families came up last week with the secretary or this week at the state. The last thing I'd ask is for a lot of the folks that are here representing organizations, I would ask you to take the information back. If there's better ways that we can get this information to you, let us know that you can leverage, because much like every large organization, we always find that we'll get questions from some of our junior folks that we know we've either discussed in here or we've discussed in other venues, and they just don't have the information. So, if you're in here, I'd ask you to spread the information, good, bad, and different, so that it helps arm our families and our soldiers with some of the things going on and some of the policies going forward. Particularly, we've decided to talk about the PCS season a little bit, since it is the May WIE. So I'd ask you to pay particular attention there, and if you have questions, then please bring them up. So thanks. Back over to the team.
2-3. Okay. Good morning, everybody. The remainder of the day, so 4:30 p.m. Parent Advisory Board meeting over at the CYS building, followed by a 5:30 p.m. combined college graduation ceremony at Bayou Theater. Moving to Friday the 5th, that morning begins with a 08 motorcycle awareness ride that begins at the old commissary parking lot with opening comments by the DCO there. Following that, we've got two events in support of Military Spouse Appreciation Day, one at 10 and one at 6, both here at the Warrior Center, followed by a 1:00 p.m. Lawyers Day Garrison Commanders Golf Tournament at the golf club here. I move to the next weekend, the 13th, that Saturday, JRTC box tour beginning at 9 a.m. at the Bayou Theater. Following day is Mother's Day, 9:30 a.m. Mother's Day brunch here at the Warrior Center, and the next day is at 5 p.m. Walking Town Hall, Maple Terrace. At the end of that week, we've got Salute to Troops on Headquarters Field beginning at noon. The 23rd, that's Tuesday, 6 p.m. Volunteer the Quarter ceremony here at the Warrior Center. DENTAC changes command the next day on the 24th. And then on the 25th, we've got Memorial Day ceremony observance at Memorial Park. The standard 3:30 BJACH award ceremony in Town Hall. That's going to take us into the 4-day weekend in observance of Memorial Day. That Wednesday following the weekend is 353rd's change of command, Warrior Field, 10 o'clock. I'll move to June.
Hold on, Alan.
Yes, sir.
Is it the 12th or is it the 19th?
So we're confirming. Do we know 12th and 19th on the panel welcome?
So we discussed it, I think they were discussing it with you as well yesterday, maybe probably even the 19th.
So it was moved?
So it's the 19th.
Because I was told it was.
Okay. All right, 19th, good.
Okay. We'll move into June, and just since I've got everyone's attention, we've published the summer block leave order. In that order, it states that 1 June is the no later than date to get administrative actions requiring the CG signature up to the SGS prior to block leave, so that we don't have soldiers' actions in limbo. Going back to the calendar, I'll start with the 5th of June, Monday, BJACH change of command, Warrior Field. The 7th is the next WIE and luncheon. Monday the 12th is Geronimo's change of command, 11 a.m., Spike Field. The next day is the redesignation ceremony, Fort Polk to Fort Johnson, Warrior Field. Inclement weather plan is Bayou Theater. And then the following day, the 14th, is the Army birthday observance at Bayou Theater. More to follow what that looks like. The 15th, Thursday, is USAC's change of command, 2 p.m. MIC change of command here at the Warrior Center as well. That's going to take us into the Juneteenth holiday weekend. Also, the first day of block leave for most of us. However, 310 is offset. They will begin their summer block leave on the 24th. The first day back for most of us is going to be on the 5th of July. Everyone, correction, for 310, it will be the 9th. Is there anything that I missed on either month or any correction that needs to be made? Okay.
MWR?
Good morning. I'm not as entertaining as Seth, but he's out today, so I'm going to try to brief this like he would. So DFMWR, we have a couple of things. You've heard Salute to the Troops, so here's a couple of things just to note for it. It is on May 20th. That's the Saturday. One-day event. The gates open at noon. You can park at BJACH and walk into the field from there, or you can park at the old commissary, MTT, Library PX as well, and you can be bussed over. We have a lot of stuff going on. We'll have 10 carnival rides, and that'll be in the lower parking lot of where headquarters field is, so the overflow for building 350. I've had lots of questions. They are going to be more adult-centric on 5 of them and more kid-centric on the other 5. So there's a lot of variety there. They'll have popcorn, cotton candy, and those kind of things. All of our food trucks will be out there starting at noon as well, so you'll be able to get food, ride rides. We have 4 acts this year. The 5th one is a DJ, and he will play, same DJ as last year if you were here. And he'll play between all 4 acts. So you'll see the lineup and the times come for that here pretty soon. Everyone has asked about fireworks. Yes, we will have fireworks at the end of the night just like normal. So you'll be able to see those from headquarters field as well as several other places on the installation if you're close to it. Does anyone have any questions about Freedom Fest / Salute to the Troops / summer concert? Awesome. Next slide, please.
I can't believe there's no questions.
I know. They'll ask them all on Facebook later. Go ahead.
Yeah, are there,
Wait.
yeah.
Oh, just real quick, for the rides and stuff, is it free or is it pay per ride?
All the rides are free.
So long lines?
No fast.
Hopefully we'll try to move them fast. So if anyone's been to the Beauregard Fair, both the fall and the spring, it's the same company that comes out for that. So they're a great company. They're very familiar with our area, very familiar with military community. So it'll be a great event.
Yeah, good question, because I've seen that one come up. So free rides. Any other questions out there?
Is it ATM, cash, or can they do, what kind of payment are they taking?
That's a great question as well. So all the food trucks will be cash and card depending on the sole food truck. That is not an MWR function. Those are their own contract. The beer tents, beverage tents, those kind of things we're actually going to sell tickets for this year. So you won't actually pay at the tent. You'll get your ID band, you'll show them your ID, and you can buy X number of tickets. The drinks are going to be $2.50, $5, and $7.50. So each ticket will be worth $2.50, which will get you a Coke, Gatorade, water. You'll have beer tickets that'll be your $5, so it'll be 2 tickets for that. And then your 3 tickets would be any of your cut waters, anything that step up from your normal Bud Light, Michelob Ultra type thing.
So if you're purchasing a ticket, then MWR will have like the machine card read or whatever?
Correct. We'll take cash card, Apple Pay, everything there, whatever you want to do. And there'll be 2 ticket tents for that. So you'll have one at both entrances where you'll get ID'd. You'll be able to buy tickets there and buy tickets at the bus entrance.
So what about the cotton candy stuff? Is that a food truck? Or?
It'll be, yep, it's a food truck. So cash card, whatever you want to use there. We're trying to reduce the time in the beverage line, and that is going to come from the payment piece of it.
Right.
So there you walk into the beverage, you hand them your tickets, get your drink, and go. Yep. So, and we'll do pre-sales, so watch Facebook, so you'll be able to buy your tickets prior to getting on the field. It'll be 1 or 2 days before the event. The location, I'm not going to give it to you now because then you'll hoard them. But watch Facebook, watch the website. We'll push that out. You'll be able to go buy tickets pre-sale the week of the event.
Okay, we need one more question, because the first 2 are really good.
Just to clarify, beer is cheaper than water, correct?
Beer is $5, water is $2.50. Good try, though. I mean, Michelob Ultra, it might be water. I'm just kidding. For anybody who drinks it.
And so I'll ask you, so if I want to carry my big cooler and come sit on the field and just listen to music all day and send the kids off to the carnival, I can do that, right?
You cannot bring your cooler on the field.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, sir. So they will be
What can I bring for food and drink to enter into the field?
So you can check the website. You can bring youth bags, so your baby bags that are in the strollers, they all will be checked. You can bring a water bottle, like if you have a hydro flask or something like that that you want to bring on, those will be checked by DES as well, but no food or beverage other than that. We will have water buffaloes, so if you want to refill that water bottle so you can stay hydrated, if you don't want to purchase water out on the field. However, nothing else will be allowed on the field.
Okay.
Any other questions? Who's excited? Everyone's excited? Yes. It's gonna be a great event, I promise. New adventure, great singers, great artists, good carnival, so get excited for that event.
Yeah, I bring up some of those, Stormy, because I know I've seen, some chatter. I mean, at the end of the day, you can, as families, and your families can plan this out to be, a pretty low cost to no cost event, depending on how you, prepare for this thing. So this is really not something where you have to come out there like going to Disney with, taking out, bank loans and stuff like that to come to, right? So this is not going to be an event where you're paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars, so the rides being free, the ability to do some of the things we talked about planning in terms of hydration and all that kind of stuff. So there are some ways that you can get around this. Plus, we will have shuttles running, and we will have the parking where it's at. So there should be some good access as well. So you don't have to come down there at 9 a.m. and stay there all day. You'll be able to kind of come and go. So thanks.
So one last question, because I don't know all of you guys, and I know that was some of the questions on some of the performers. Are all performers family friendly?
All performers are family friendly. Yes, ma'am. That's a great question.
Now, will everybody like all the performers? That's a different.
I wasn't going to go there.
That wasn't,
Yeah.
it was just, I was like, I can ask.
No, it's a good question. What Stormy, really tried to do also is vary the genres of music throughout the day, because, every time, even if you get the biggest, you hear, and not everybody's going to like that person. So she's done pretty well at getting a good spread of music, but all family friendly. So
All of these have performed on a military installation at one point or another around the world within the last 10 years. So just know that they know what they're coming into, that it may be a completely different show than what you would see if they were to perform in Leesville, but they know they're coming into a military community and know what they can and can't do.
okay. Thanks.
Awesome. So next slide. So these are some of our MWR events that are going on for the month of May that we also will be doing. So Military Spouse Appreciation Day. This is for military spouses. If they are dual military, they're more than welcome to come as well. They just need to be able to provide that ID with them. It is 18 and older, so no children are allowed at this event. We do a lot of like socializing, a lot of getting up and moving and things like that. So that's kind of why we eliminate the children at this event. It's something special for our military spouses for us to show appreciation. Brunch and dinner is provided at these two events. One starts at 10, one starts at 6, and it'll be right here in the Warrior Center. So you can come in, register, show your ID. You don't have to pre-register, you'll register the day of when you get here. So no issues there. You'll get a free goodie bag, you'll get dinner, we'll play games, lots of prizes. I think I'm looking at Megan, but I'm pretty sure one of the prizes is a kayak. So great event. I know I like the whoa. That was what I was hoping for. So definitely come out to that. We do have a golf scramble as well on the 5th. That's right here. And then we have a 4-man golf scramble that's attached to the intramural sports program the 9th through the 11th. We have a workshop over at ACS, so you can see those dates. And of course, Mother's Day's the following weekend. So we have lots of things from the Bowling Center to the Warrior Center happening for Mother's Day. So you can check those out on our website. We have a hiring fair on the 16th. I know this was a point of question last WIE. So this is going to be over at the ACS building. We will have all of our MWR employees over there, as well as a couple other agencies that will be hiring on the spot this day. So definitely come out to that. I know there's a lot of juniors and seniors that are potentially out of school on those days. So we are looking for lifeguards, rec assistants on the 16th. If your children are in CYS or MST, SAC, they're doing lots of after late night school activities, get out of school luau's and events. And then our Library Warrior Center are combining and going to start our Books and Brews in May. So we've had a lot of interest in this. definitely come check that out. It'll be great. It's right here at the Warrior Center starting at 6 o'clock. And then on your tables, you see Toledo Bend flyer. So I kind of wanted to touch on this. So Toledo Bend summer hours, they start this month. So you'll start seeing Toledo Bend's office open a little bit longer, rental center, those kind of things. And then we've had a lot of questions on the open to the public. So yes, we have opened Toledo Bend to the public. Those are ones that have to register with our membership program. It's not anyone just going out to Toledo Bend to stay in those cabins. They have to come through MWR to get a membership. We have to vet them. They have to go through the whole process before they can even rent that. So I know there was a lot of concern there, but I wanted to make that kind of transparent. And then you see on that flyer the different categories of how many days out you can rent cabins. So the priority is still to our soldiers and families here on Fort Polk, and then it tiers down from there on the number of days that you can reserve out for Toledo Bend. Does anyone have any questions on that? Yes, ma'am.
And for the cabins at Toledo Bend, about how far off are they booked already?
4th of July is already booked, I'll tell you that. I knew that's what you were going for. 4th of July is already booked. I want to say Memorial Day is already booked. There may be a couple weekends in June that have several cabins available. If you can get out during the week, I would recommend that. It's a great time to go out, but I would call as early as you possibly can.
So the general notion is if you reserve 30 days in advance, you have a much better chance of getting a cabin, especially in the spring and summer months. But you see on the flyer, it says active duty can make reservations up to 6 months in advance. And then the rest of the categories, they have only up to 45 days. So we're trying to capture everybody and make sure we don't take away from it being an Army, recreation, military, active duty, and retiree benefit first.
With that being said, they are non-refundable deposits. So if you know that 6 months, in January, you want to go 4th of July, right? You can call and reserve it and then say something comes up, you have a field exercise and you can't go. They are refundable deposits. So you can call out there and make your reservation. If you have to cancel, totally fine. That's all refundable. I saw another question. Go for it.
So the question was regarding the Salute to the Troops. Is that an open to the public event?
Salute to the Troops is open to our community. Yes, ma'am.
As long as they can pass a security check to get on the installation.
Any other questions? Awesome. So our information's down there. Our QR code is down there. All the information's on our website and Facebook. You can reach out and we can answer any other questions that you may have. Awesome. I'll be followed by Boss.
Thanks, Stormy.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Specialist West, your installation boss president. Before I jump into our calendar on the next slide here, I just wanted to highlight a great event that boss conducted last month on 13 April, our dodgeball tourney and harmful behavior engagement. We had a few battalion sharp reps out there, and frankly, 83 people came out to support this dodgeball tournament. I think the biggest success wasn't just my team who won the championship, not that I personally supported, but the fact that the crowd was extremely engaged in the conversation and was willing to talk about how we can, for lack of a better word, not be bystanders, how to step in when situations arise and how to do the right thing regardless of rank or position. So I just wanted to take a brief moment to highlight that. And then the only thing I wanted to highlight before I jump into the calendar is really just to remind everybody gently that our program isn't just hinged on the voice of the single soldiers, to be frank. But the wisdom and the support of our senior leaders and command teams on our installation. Your guys' support the last few months has made our program make leaps and bounds in how we've improved and how we've really gotten after taking care of our people in the Garrison environment. The great example I always like to use is less than 2 weeks ago, I had a chance to sit down with first of the 509, Sergeant Major Brooks, and his boss reps, and to just see the energy they had to improve the quality of life on our installation, it was absolutely great. So after this meeting, I will be presenting Sergeant Major Brooks with the first new and improved boss swag that's came out for you. Sergeant Major. It's just for you. I made sure to get it. Sergeant Major Brooks specifically has supported the BOSS program, not just by providing a great vice president. I could have asked for a better VP in Sergeant Stewart, sitting over there in the corner there, but he supports our study boards every Tuesday, and you can hear the NCO Creed being yelled all throughout Home of Heroes for the better half of an hour. So it's great stuff that we're seeing out here. Next slide, please. And the 3 events that we're going to highlight for this upcoming month, 5 May, Cinco de Mayo, as most of you know it. We are at East Leesville Elementary and North Polk Elementary, supporting both their field days at the same time. A big thank you to the multiple battalions who are going to be out there to help us support this, as well as our Cinco de Mayo party at Anvil Bar, 1800, open to single married spouses. It's a bar. Beyond that, on 13 April, we will be conducting our Humane Society donation drive. We do it on a year-to-year basis. This year, we are doing it in honor of Miss Rita, who unfortunately passed away. She's ran the shop there and has been a huge supporter of BOSS over the last few years, so I appreciate it greatly. Whatever anyone can donate. BOSS reps will be putting boxes around each battalion with clear markings to what they're looking for donation-wise. It's pretty simple. Think, blankets and basic animal necessities needed to take care of them. They work strictly based on donations, so I'd appreciate whatever anyone can do to support. And then the last event that we are going to highlight is going to be really anything yellow that you guys see on here. I'm glad we managed to do a color correction since yesterday's rehearsal. But for our leaders specifically out here, you'll see our events highlighted in yellow are focused for life skill and quality of life. Everything from the mock boards to the auto skills maintenance classes to the carpentry classes that we're offering through the month. We're really trying to prepare our soldiers, whether they decide to stay in the military or they decide to get out, by giving them access to learning different things such as welding, carpentry, things of that nature. So I'd appreciate whatever you guys can do to also help support, but I am aware that we are stepping into a pretty high op tempo this month for everybody. And that's all I have, pending any questions. Followed by BJACH.
Thanks, Mrs. West.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jean Graves. I'm the Public Affairs Officer for BJACH. Before I start, I just want to thank Colonel Vassilates for making this slide for me while I was on leave. This will be his last WIE, so save all your questions till the end. We'll be very sad to see him go, to be honest. He's been a great hospital commander. All right, everybody. 2 things that aren't on here that I just thought of while I was sitting at my desk is it's also Mental Health Awareness Month, so please keep track of our Facebook page for some stories and some posts about mental health awareness resources as well. But the main focus today is that it's Women's Health Month. May 8th is actually National Women's Checkup Day. So as you see on the right-hand side, left hand, right-hand side. Those are some routine health screenings that we offer at BJACH. So women in your 40s, you should be looking at our mammography services as well as our colon cancer screenings. And then if you're in your 20s, you should be looking at those PAPs and those cervical cancer screenings as well. The big initiative that we want to talk about today is that starting May 23rd, we're going to have our inaugural breast cancer survivor support group. It's actually a breast cancer support group. And what it is no agenda. It's for people who are fighting this battle, those who have survived it, and loved ones of breast cancer survivors. Basically, it's going to be a safe place for these folks to come together, to network, to meet, to have lunch, to just have a commonality with others, and kind of help us ahead of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is in October, to kind of help us plan maybe what we want to do this month or this year. So Ms. Childers is here today, and she and I will be here after the meeting if anyone has additional questions about the support group. But it'll start on the 23rd. It'll be in our rehabilitation department. So if you go in entrance B where the pharmacy is, take the elevator downstairs, look to the right. It's going to be in the conference room there, and we'll have some clear signage for any of the survivors. So there are flyers on your table. I would ask you to please take those back to your units and share them. And then follow our Facebook page. If you don't, we try to make sure we keep that up to date with all of our initiatives and anything else that we've got going on at the hospital. Pending any questions that you don't want to wait for Colonel Vassilates to ask. Okay, I will be followed by TAP.
You got off easy. You got off easy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ernest McClinton. I'm the Transition Service Specialist for TAP. Ms. Janice Breeden is the manager. On our first slide, I want to talk to you about our virtual hiring event that we had. Let me go back just a little bit further. April 20th, we had a face-to-face hiring event. We had over 40 employers there, over 15 colleges there, several providers. But this is the best part. We had almost 67 potential job hires. That's the most we've had since I've been on TAP, and I've been there for 4 years. And I say it is because of the people in this room. Someone is telling the soldiers to get out there, and I want to say thank you. Now, with the virtual event, it's 30 days long. It starts from the 20th of April, and it's going to end 20 May. I need you guys to get your soldiers out there that are getting ready to transition out, that's retiring, med boards, ETSing, and on that little barcode, scan it. Get in there and get involved in it, because what it is we have IBM on there, Lockheed Martin on there, other big people like Boeing. These people have over 40,000 jobs for our soldiers. And let me tell you what I tell these employers when I'm talking to them. That Fort Polk has the best soldiers on any installation. And they always say, well, Mr. McClinton, how do you do that? I said, we hand select them. And they said, really? And I said, yes. I said, they're handed orders, and they've been selected to come here. So they're hand selected. All right? So what I need for you to, what I need you to continue to do is push TAP. TAP is a mandated program. We're here to make sure that everybody has a smooth transition from military to civilian life. We also encourage soldiers to bring their spouses to our classes, okay? So if your spouse says, oh no, you tell them to say, no, Mr. Ernest McClinton said I can come, because we want the spouses there. Because most of the times when it's time for transitioning, soldiers are focused on one thing, getting out. The spouse has got more important things that he or she wants to know, like what's going on with the VA loans for housing, different things that can be answered, okay? So again, please, keep pushing TAP. It's a commander's program, so I know that it's going to be taken care of. Are there any questions on the virtual hiring event? Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. May 18th, we're having what we call Law Enforcement Employer Day. We're piggybacking with ACS. Right now, we have about 15 employers coming. And no, all law enforcement is not coming from Louisiana, my great state. They're coming from Texas, Florida. In fact, this morning I was on the phone with Miami, Florida police. They want to come down here and talk to our soldiers and get them employment. I'm like, okay, come on down, because we got the best soldiers in the Army. All right? We also have people coming from Texas, Tennessee, of course, Louisiana. Like I said, I'm talking to all of them, getting them to come. Right now we got 15. My goal is to have 20 here on the 18th of May. If you know anyone that's wanting to talk about law enforcement or get involved in law enforcement, please send them to us. And another thing I want to say about that is, law enforcement is not just looking for the guys to get in the cars and ride around. They're looking for teachers, lawyers, providers like i.e., what do they call them, daycare providers, because within those organizations, they have people that need daycare. They need those guys that want to finish up their degrees or go to college. So they're looking for everything. Just like the United States Army, they are a small city within a city as well. So on the 18th of May, I dare you to invite or tell your soldiers to come see us at Building 660, which is Educational Library, where we'll have Law Enforcement Day. Pending your questions, that's all I have for TAP.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Dylan Everett, and I am the DPW Environmental Division Compliance Branch Chief. Thank you for affording me the opportunity to brief you all today on mold prevention. To start off, MCOM defines mold as a naturally occurring microscopic fungi that can grow on indoor and outdoor surfaces. Mold can live in all environments, climates, and seasons, but requires oxygen, moisture, and a nutrient source to grow. The types of mold and their abundance in an area depend on the availability of nutrients like dirt, water, and temperature. Molds grow well on cardboard, ceiling tiles, paper, and wood products. Typical conditions that lead to mold growth in buildings are chronic water intrusion, lack of adequate ventilation and moisture control, or isolated floods caused by the weather or a water pipe bursting. Some common examples on Army installations one can take to prevent excess indoor moisture and mold growth is to turn on the exhaust fan when showering, immediately clean or dry damp clothes or gear, and do not use supplemental HVAC units that may interfere with centralized systems. Some other examples one can take are to do regular housekeeping, keep surfaces dry, and ensure your building's envelope is maintained. If mold is already present, remove by using a general purpose cleaner or utilize the Army Maintenance Application, or ARMA, to report mold growth and other indoor air quality concerns, except for emergency requests for issues like water leaks, busted pipes, or inoperable HVAC systems. My contact information is on the slide, and I'm ready to answer your questions.
Okay, so the reason the team is bringing this up is just based on our environment here in Louisiana, we have mildew and mold challenges. And so what you see there with ARMA and our IAQ, which is our indoor air quality, we have a contract on the installation that focused primarily on the barracks. So we pay about $1 million to do this, to do mold or mildew mitigation. But now we're expanding that and partnering with Corvias. And so if there's any issues that you have on the resident side in housing or on the installation, these are still some tips. And then we're also going to develop some marketing materials about some things that we've learned based on living here, what we can do inside of our homes to address some of these challenges. Okay.
Any questions? Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. I will be followed by RSO.
Thanks, Dylan.
Good morning, everyone. Chaplain Jeffries from our Religious Support Office. A couple things going on. This month, tomorrow is a National Day of Prayer luncheon, and the battalion chaplains, union chaplains should have tickets available, and for folks to be able to attend that. We have a capacity of 150 is what we got to. It's completely free, and so I encourage you to come and be a part of that. Our guest speaker will be Chaplain Colonel Karen Meeker. And just a wonderful speaker and a fantastic lady. You will enjoy hearing from Chaplain Meeker. She is an amazing speaker. So look forward to her being here tomorrow and at 11:30 here at the Warrior Center. Coming up this month, also we'll begin winding down programs. Our normal program will continue Wednesday nights. Will consolidate down into one Bible study as we go into the summer and everybody is transitioned and moving forward. So that will keep going and at 1800 there at the chapel. And then also one of the exciting things that we'll be starting this summer is you see the Chosen logo there is on June 7th we'll begin a Bible study going through the Chosen TV series. We'll be starting with season 1, and some of you have seen it. It follows the life of Christ through the Gospels, and so we'll begin that. There's been interest in the chapel starting that, so on June 7th, that Wednesday, we'll begin that series in the evening as well. For our family activities and things coming up, something that I say excited about, but also kind of curious of how it works out. If you come over to the chapel right now, as you walk through it, there are Legos all across the chapel. And because we're getting ready for VBS, and Legos and Stack is our theme. On the 24th of June, we'll have what we call the Lego Museum. And so the kids and other people, if you have your magnificent Millennium Falcon that you hand built out of Legos you want to put on display, we'll have some on display in a room already. And then the kids, as they make make their way through the chapel, that there'll be 3 different little competition sets. They'll have their Legos, build it, get it inspected, and once it's checked off, they'll move on to the next station and build Legos and go from there. And there'll be snacks and drinks and those things provided on the evening there on the 24th from 17:30 to 19:30. But just a way to kind of build excitement, have the kids and the families involved building and doing stuff with Legos, and then we'll move into STACK in our Vacation Bible School program, where the curriculum will be geared towards helping our children just deal with military life, transitions, building friendships, and those sorts of life skills as they go through it that week. And again, using Legos as a way to cooperate, team build, and just be able to come together and have a great time and going forward. So for us, those are things happening this summer, taking us throughout July. Like Vacation Bible School is 17th through 21st. The QR code on there will take you to how to register and get signed up for those things as well. Any questions for me at this time? Right. If not, I have the dubious honor of introducing Mr. Clifford Persons from Safety.
You should have started, sir, with saying Clifford like the big red dog. It makes it easier to introduce me. Good morning, sir, team. Real quick, the first slide depicts our safety training for the BRC and the ARC classes that we facilitate at the Garrison Safety Office. At the top of the slide to the right, you see the login instructions. We have 6 BRCs this month and 2 ARCs. The BRC can accommodate 6 students, and the ARC also can accommodate 6 students. We also have 4 IDT classes for those soldiers that may need some retraining in some of their driving behaviors. We have that available to them as well.
Mr. Persons, BRC, IRC, and ARC, I know it's on the slide, but what do they stand for?
So the BRC is the basic writer's course, and the ARC is the advanced writer's course, and IDT is the intermediate driver's course. So we do those, and also we have the remedial driver's course, none scheduled for May and June, but the next class is in July. Also, just as a caveat, MCOM has approved that DOD employees can also attend the motorcycle driver's course. So if you're interested in driving a motorcycle and you're not on active duty, you can come to the course and we can train you based on the seats that are available. So if you're interested, this is Motorcycle Safety Month, so I'm excited on the inside, though I may look a little stoic on the outside. But on a serious note, second slide, please, unless there's any questions on that first slide. Second slide. On a serious note, there were 5,000 persons in our country last year that died, or in 2021, that perished in the motorcycle accidents. And so far, FY23, there have been 32 accidents that have resulted in fatalities of active duty service members. So we'll make sure that we take this serious, and that, sir, you know that this month is Motorcycle Safety Awareness. And as we sign the proclamation today, we should remind ourselves that motorcycles have been stored in the garages for the last few months, but now they're back on the road, and make sure that we're aware of those motorcycle riders. All riders have to wear the proper PPE. If you have any questions, you can refer to the Senior Commander's Policy Letter Number 25 and AR 3510, Chapter 11-7. It gives you those the information for that. And remember that we have to replace our helmets if you're a rider. We have our motorcycle mentor here today as well. If you're a rider, make sure you replace those helmets within 3 to 5 years, because UV rays will break down the compounds of those helmets. And slogan we use, I'm a motorcycle rider myself, sir. We always use dress for the slide and not the ride, because you can dress for the ride and end up in a lot of trouble if you have a fall. So as you know, there's distracted driving all over, with people driving and talking on cell phones. Make sure that you don't text and drive, number one, but definitely watch out for our motorcyclists, because they only have 2 wheels, and you hate for one of your texts to both change your life and to change the life of somebody around you. Beware of road hazards if you're a rider, as well as upcoming weather conditions. And remember, if you have any questions, you can always call the coolest number on Fort Polk, 337-531-RIDE, or 337-531-7433. Penny, any questions, sir?
Sir, what is the intermediate driver's training?
Intermediate driver's training? Say it again, I'm sorry. So it's for, every soldier who's below 26 years and older, required by Army AR 3510 and Chapter 11, they have to go through IDT when they transfer or PCS from one station to another. So if you move from one geographical location to another location, you're supposed to go through that training as well. Yep. So last year we trained over 3,081 soldiers that came to Fort Polk and moved through Fort Polk. Since 2021, we trained 3,081 soldiers here at Fort Polk in IDT. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. So the training, you mentioned that it was for active duty and DA civilians. What about family members or spouses?
They have not allowed that to be a part of the contract at this time. But there are local companies. I won't say one or the other because I don't want to advertise for one, not the other. But the state troopers, they have a course, as well as other third-party entities have them.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Hey,
Yeah.
I just introduce myself real quick. I'm CW4 Murphy. I am the senior for Polk JRTC motorcycle mentor. We did have the ride for Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month scheduled for Friday. However, in consultation with some of the other unit mentors and whatnot, looking at weather on Friday, it's not looking good. It's looking like there's going to be some rain and possible thunderstorms at some point throughout that ride. So most of them have signaled back that they're able to flex and push the ride or pull the ride to tomorrow. So we're actually going to be conducting the Motorcycle Safety Awareness Garrison ride. We'll be conducting that tomorrow. Everything else is going to remain the same. It's going to start at 8 o'clock at the old commissary parking lot. All the riders will meet up there, and then we'll get staged. We'll have a short discussion, safety briefing, that type of thing. And we're planning on 0930 kickstands up. We'll do a couple little skills tests on the way out. We'll be going out in groups of 10. We're looking at, last year we had a pretty good showing. It was the end of the month, and there was a lot of stuff going on. We had 45 bikes last year, and so this year with not a whole lot on the schedule this week, I'm hoping to have around 60 to maybe 80 bikes. So I don't know, we'll see. But I just want to let you know, put it out here, that we are pulling the ride to tomorrow now instead of Friday.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sir?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be followed by DPTMS.
Good morning, all. I'm Dusty Andrews. I work for DPTMS. On behalf of my director, Mr. Mark Leslie, I'd like to welcome you to the WIE. Unfortunately, I am also a doom and gloom guy. That's why the command team hates me, because most everything that we give them is predicated off of bad news first.
We don't hate you.
Oh, well, okay.
I don't.
No, sir, I didn't say that. We hang out. Yes, sir. I've got some good news, bad news, and some scary news. Good news is we've just gotten through April, which is the peak tornado month here in Louisiana. The bad news is 120 tornadoes in the past 5 years in April, so we're about half that for May. So there's only going to be around 60 this month. That's the bad news. The scary news is we're coming up on hurricane season. There's some good news there. The Colorado State University and NOAA have all said that we're likely to enter into a El Nino type atmosphere at this time, which basically moves the hurricanes out into the Atlantic and or the typhoon season in the Pacific to kick up. So, but we must be prepared for the eventuality of a hurricane hitting here. So we still have to prepare. Again, our peak season really is August, September, October for hurricanes. As many of you are aware, we went through two just past 2.5 years ago. We are preparing for, and we're going to give the CG our severe weather brief later this month, and we always try to keep you informed of any weather events that happen. Next slide, please. You can help yourself, though. There are many things that you can do to help out. You can make a kit, have a plan, prepare. You can sign up for weather alerts from various NOAA, the National Weather Service, NIXL, from your parish partners, the police, the fire. There are all ways that you can also be informed of weather happening in your area. So and again, you got the local TV channels and all that. Last thing I'll leave you with real quick is that you might see alert. This is what we use to communicate with the soldiers and families on Fort Polk. But what may or may not be known is if you register an alert at another installation and you come here, just because you put your CAC in a computer doesn't mean you are registered for Fort Polk. You have to go back in and change your data to reflect the local area, or otherwise you're going to be receiving alerts from wherever it was you came from. If you've never registered an alert, you're required to register it, provide two methods by which we could communicate with you, preferably a personal cell phone and a personal email, along with your work phone and your work email. That way we can provide you with information of whatever's happening. We do have the giant voice. It's degraded right now. We're hoping to get it repaired later this year, bring in a new system, but it's kind of hard to tell what's being said. So if you do hear giant voice going off, immediately seek shelter and try to tune into a radio or television station to get more information. Opinion or questions? I've appreciated the time here. Questions? Okay, thank you very much. I'll be followed by Corvias Military Housing.
Thanks, Dusty.
Good morning. I'm Kurt Green with Corvias. I'm the operations director. Knowing that PCS is right around the corner, we wanted to talk about 30-day notices and clearing. So there's a lot of information on the screen, so I'm just going to hit some of the high points that there is some maybe some type of confusion. Even though we do have a minimum of a 30-day notice, we strongly encourage, as soon as you hear that you are going to be transitioning out, go ahead and turn in your notice. It could be 60 days out, it could be 90 days out, it doesn't make a difference to us. We want, but a 30-day minimum is in effect. Understand too that there's misconception that you have to wait for your orders to turn in your orders to us. You do not have to do that. We don't need to see your orders until either you get them and you want to bring them in, or whenever you're doing your clearing and you're doing your actual move out. The same day we can get those. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that very clearly. That you can turn in a notice to leave whenever you first hear your word. When you get receive your first communication that you're leaving, turn in your notice at that point in time. Then if it falls later, we can push that date back. Once you fall into that 30-day window, and it's less than the 30-day window, that's when you could incur some charges. So it's very important that you do that for us. It helps y'all out. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the steps that you can do to give notice. One, you can call us at the community center and just verbally let us know this. That will trigger us to send you some information, or we will send you to our resident portal, which you can fill out the notice. Okay, you can also come to our office. You can email your center. Or you can go through your resident portal. Understand that your 30 days does not start until we have your signature on that notice to vacate form. Okay? Even though it's not required, we strongly encourage that you call us to set up what we call a pre-inspection with us prior to you actually clearing the home. This way, we can walk you through the home and point out some things that need to have some attention so you will not be charged on the back end. Whether it be holes in the walls or certain stains and whatnot. What we do is we refer back to our inspection, your move-in inspection, and we base it off of there. That's why our move-in inspection is important as well, that y'all fill out and get back to us. Because we're going to base it off of there. There may be some small stains that may be on the carpet. We're not going to charge you for those stains. If there's access other than what has been marked on there, then you possibly could be charged. So I highly suggest that you go through the pre-inspection. We will be happy to go out there multiple times if we need to. We will be able to assist you in any way possible with that. We need to also understand that as you're cleaning and doing your clearing, we're not looking for a white glove test here. We're just asking for there's no trash, Everything's clean out of the refrigerator. Everything's off the floor. A good wipe down, a good clean. Your appliances, we do a basic clean of those and wipe down. That's all that we're asking, because we understand that we're going to go in there and we're going to do more of a deep cleaning. It's where we run into the issues is that mostly where your ovens, not cleaning your ovens and just leaving it caked and dirty, those can run into some charges. Also understand after that pre-inspection, when you get finished, we will do a final walkthrough, and that's going to be on your last day, where we collect your keys, and then we're going to point out damages, and then you're required to give that amount, and you'll need to do that through your resident portal. Cleaning standards, we just talked a little bit about that. Refer back to your RRG, and also we have our move out guide, which is located on the resident portal as well. As talking about the cleans, if it's not clean in a certain manner, if it's not clean as we talked prior to, we're talking about it could lead to some significant charges. Just to give an example, just a basic clean that we have to go over and beyond, you're looking at about $200 for a 2-bedroom, and then it kind of climbs up. So we don't want to charge that. That's why, again, I can't voice out enough that you need to do that pre-inspection so we can check it, okay? Does anybody know what the biggest charge is that we have to charge? That's very consistent. No, good ones, but it's trash. Furniture that's brought out to the curb, trash that's brought out to the curb that's just left there, okay? What we look at is you're looking at $25 per bag, and you're looking at, depending on how bad it is, you could be charged up to about $350 to tow away your furniture. Understand too that, again, pre-inspection, if you will take these steps prior to you getting out, if you know you're not going to get that furniture, then you can dispose of that and move that out. You also can plan your move out around trash day or trash time, and that will help you out as well. That's pretty much all I have. If you have any questions. Yes.
Comment, actually. It's important for people to understand that only the service member can sign the notice to vacate form. The spouses are not allowed to do that. They've come in, the service member has to do it.
You're correct. Sorry about that. Unless there's a power of attorney.
So for the pre-inspection, is it typically the same inspector for both the pre-inspection and final inspection? Or does it vary?
It could vary depending on their appointment schedule, but it is one of our resident associates that will come out and do that.
And there's paperwork provided to post pre-inspection? Yes,
that's the on the actual resident portal. There's guidelines that tells you that what those are.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Ops group, any questions, concerns? None? I'll address some of the comments that we talked about before, just for everybody. Yep. Okay. 353? Good. Patriots, 310? Colonel Burnett? Good. No questions? 32nd?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 15?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 46th?
Yes, sir.
Good. 519th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 10 tat?
We're good, sir.
Oh, ma'am. Okay, I'm not going to say it this time because I'm not here. BJACH.
Good morning. Sir, you addressed PCS season, so Becky, one of our Tricare reps from Hyann, is in the back. I asked her to make a few comments briefly to talk about key things soldiers' families should remember as they go through PCS season related to Tricare and their benefits.
So good morning, everyone, and thank you, team. So with PCS, there's a lot of things that you can do to help make your preparation, a little bit more stressful. Some of the first things you can do is if you need any routine care, make sure and get that before you travel. So if you're needing your annual exams or immunizations or anything like that, you get that before you travel. If you have a dependent that has any type of special needs, get with their doctor, find out what you need to be doing while you're in transit so that you're basically making any preparations so that hopefully as soon as you get to your next duty station, that as soon as you can get signed in, hopefully you can go ahead and get an appointment with that provider. If you do need prescriptions filled, make sure and get those filled before you travel. Even if it's a little bit early for you to get your prescriptions filled, it's my understanding if you'll go to the pharmacy and let them know you're PCSing and you're not going to have enough to do until you get to your next duty station, they will give you extra supplies so that you will have that. And lastly, when you get to your duty station, just make sure and update your DEERs for you and any eligible dependents there within 90 days and get them enrolled in their Tricare plan. And one last thing, while you are in transit, know that you are covered for an emergency only without a referral. So if you have an emergency, you seek care at your nearest hospital emergency room. You do not need a referral for an emergency. But if you're needing urgent care, the service member, your first option is always to seek care at another military facility. If you are not near a military facility, you must have an authorization from Fort Polk, your primary care provider, before you get that care. Now, if it is a holiday weekend after hours, and maybe you can't get a hold of your primary doctor that day, you can call the nurse advice line. It's available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's 1-800-TRICARE. If you can remember that, you call that number, and even if you're just needing some medical advice, hey, what can I take for this problem? That nurse advice line is there to help you with all of that. So if you do those things, I think you'll have a pretty smooth transition once you get to where you're going. Yes, ma'am.
When we go to the pharmacy and we say we're going to run out, and I know that they've come down and changed refill policy, right? Like it's only so many days out. What kind of proof, for lack of a better word, do we need to, so the pharmacist knows, like, no, this is legit, I'm going to, like...
Unfortunately, I don't have that answer, so I don't know what they have to have.
Let's just get that out if it's ordered.
And it's been a while, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I know they used to do that, so if that changed, you know, I apologize.
No, thank you, no.
Any questions? Okay. Thank you, and safe travels.
Thank you.
Two quick things. Last WIE, someone had asked about if we were doing postpartum depression groups or counseling, and so the behavioral health department is doing it. So you can walk in there to schedule an appointment with them or give them a phone call, and they'll get you scheduled for that type of counseling if that's what you're in need of. Last thing I have is some HIPAA, Health Information Portability Act stuff, privacy type information. So our privacy individual employees have been getting a lot of phone calls from soldiers who are wondering how folks are finding out about the care that they're receiving, whether that be in the network or here at BJACH. So what I kind of want to remind folks of, commanders have a right to know what's going on with their soldiers, and then it's the commander's responsibility to try to keep that as private as possible. Obviously things get out and people know things that happen to their battle buddy every now and then, but we need to try to keep that as confined as possible. There are 8 reasons where the hospital has to disclose, and this is for your soldier, you tell your soldiers as well, there's 8 reasons that the hospital provider would have to disclose to a command team what's going on with the soldier. Most of those you probably would understand. So that would be harm to self, harm to others, harm to the mission. If that individual soldier has a special MOS where they're responsible for some sensitive stuff, we'll have to disclose their medical condition. If they're an inpatient, if they have an acute medical condition interfering with their duty, so they'll be put on a medication where they may not be able to do their job, or obviously if there's substance abuse involved. Those are the 8 reasons that a provider would have to disclose to a commander what's going on with the soldier. Any of your questions, sir? That's all I got.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, sir, team, 5 quick things. Hourly care, it's been brought up a lot on the installation, so hourly care for our children. So if you are not aware, our infant full-time care, we have a huge wait list and backlog, and so full-time care for families to accommodate infants is about 45 days wait. And so we went to the senior commander about a couple months ago, and to address that wait for full-time care for infants to meet the demand, we had to reduce our hourly care that we used to offer. So reduce a lot of our hourly care options we had. So we still offer hourly care through our school age center as well as our 2 family child care homes. And so MWR team is going to put together a flyer specifically on the school age center phone number and times where we do provide that, as well as our family child care homes where we have 2 of our families who offer child care in their homes if they have capacity. So that's where we are at with hourly care. Any questions or concerns on that? So we recognize it's a challenge, but it came at a cost, and so the priority is to provide full-time care for our infants, and that's where we're at. So I just want to be fully transparent and disclose that's the challenge, and yes, we acknowledge that we cannot and we're not offering as much hourly care as we used to. Okay. Second is PCS summer surge. It's coming up with a lot of moves, as the senior commander talked about. What that means is we have a lot of stuff that we're still trying to work through. IPSA on the orders, transportation, movers, access to the installation. And so if there's any concerns or challenges you have, specifically as we increase the stress and pucker factor coming up with moving, Heather Waldrop, is our installation transportation POC. And so if you have challenges, she oversees all of that. And so if you have challenges with where you don't have movers or there are some unique situations, you can reach out to her at 337-531-4095. So any challenges with movers or getting anything coordinated on your move for household goods, that's the LRC Transportation Supervisor, Heather, 337-531-4095. Last 2 things. Our STEM Starbase Center, we haven't talked about it in a while. It's where we do our science, technology, engineering, and math center that we've been partnered with LSUA. Hopefully, we're to the finish line, July, August. We'll do a soft opening to get after offering in one facility all of the STEM stuff here on the installation. Also, I don't want people to forget about the 3 projects that we still have ongoing with MWR on quality of life, and that's we are upgrading our Toledo Bend cabins. We are expanding our Alligator RV park out at Alligator Lake, and we are designing and developing and revamping and upgrading our outdoor shooting range. So those are 3 projects in the next year that we're working, maybe a year and a half based on supply stuff, but those are still on the agenda. We're moving forward with those 3 projects. Forge Bar and Grill. And so Forge Bar and Grill is right next door to here, right by the golf store. So that's open Tuesday through Saturdays, okay? So I just want to make sure that went out a long time ago, but Tuesdays through Saturdays, it's open from about 1600 to 2100, if I remember correctly. John, am I right? And Sean, okay. Yep, so that's here at the Forge, Tuesdays through Saturday. The other bar and grill, the Anvil, is open 2400 on Fridays and Saturdays. So we have 2 options for our community there. And lastly, on our commissary. So commissary is opening jobs for our teenagers during the summer, and so they posted out there on commissary, I think, .mil, or I'll make sure the link is sent out for our teenagers during the summer for baggers and stockers, but I'll make sure that information's put out. Any concerns, questions, or comments? Okay, thanks. Sir, over to you.
Okay. Hey, first off, I want to, as we said earlier, last week for 2 of our commanders, Colonel Vassilates and Colonel Kimbrough, who have been taking care of our soldiers and family members. So thanks for everything you've been doing for your 2 years here. You still got work to do. You're not changing tomorrow. So make sure you run through the finish line there, run through the tape. But we do appreciate all the hard work in taking care of our folks. Second thing here and final thing here, just want to recognize our Civilian of the Month and also our Soldier of the Month for Woodville Hall. So first is Mr. Eric Hayes. Where's he at? There you are. Come on up. So, come on up, Eric. So I get a lot of good emails from him, but he's been instrumental here with property accountability, developing training for our operations officers down there, and then really, as Dusty talked some of the disaster, the severe weather disaster. He's tracking a lot of hazmat events across the country, which we know there's a little bit of an uptick on. So we appreciate you keeping us safe and everything you're doing. Congratulations. Thank you. And then finally, Sergeant Bryn Nielsen. Come on up. So she's, so we hear this thing, borrowed military manpower, so she's the face of it this morning, but she's been doing just a tremendous job with our in-processing. She's in-processed about 250 soldiers over the last 2 months. Normally hails out of the 115th for the 32nd Hospital Center, but we're happy to have her here working for the installation and helping welcome our new soldiers. Thanks for what you're doing. All right, and then I think our next WIE here is 7 June. We'll stick around for a few more minutes. Appreciate again what everyone is doing for us and for their families here at the installation. Thanks for what you're doing. Have a great rest of the week, great weekend, and we'll see you a little bit later in May. Remember, salute to troops, the 20th, box tour on the 13th. Take care.